Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Bianca, and today I will be presenting a talk on the new Gantt view to plan your tasks. Before getting started, I would like you to scan this QR code if you wish to ask questions at the end of this session. Well, I assume you have all done so without further ado, let's get started. In today's talk, I will be presenting the new features in Odoo's Gantt view. These features have been designed to make the Gantt view, and especially your project management processes, more dynamic, intuitive, and effective. Particularly today, you will learn how this new feature will help you as a user, as a project manager, to boost productivity, to improve your project's workflows, as well as help your teams meet deadlines more efficiently and effectively. In order to illustrate the power of this feature, let's have a look at two real-world scenarios. This is just to give you a bit of context. In the first scenario, we have the R&D department of a biotech company which is developing a new drug for cancer treatment. In this new initiative is called Project NovaCure. Project NovaCure is divided into 4 phases, and each phase has a set of tasks that have to be carried out by 5 different employees. These employees, as you can imagine, have different roles as well as different skills. For example, we have the head of the R&D department, the project manager, 2 lab technicians, as well as a data analyst. The second real-world scenario involves always this biotech company, which is called Biotech Innovation. But this time, our company is contracted by one of its clients, Genlab Pharmaceutical, in order to perform some on-site technical interventions for one of their laboratories in Brussels. These technical interventions include, for example, the repair of a malfunctioning bioreactor, the calibration of laboratory instruments, software updates, as well as the decommissioning of old equipment. And here we'll have 2 technicians performing these tasks, carrying out these tasks. One senior field technician, whose name is Lucas, and the other one is a junior field technician, whose name is Marie. Having illustrated the 2 use cases, let's now move on to to illustrate the first topic of today's agenda, which is usability improvements. Well, in terms of usability, several improvements have been made in order to make the navigation inside the Gantt view more easier, intuitive, and dynamic. But enough with the chit-chat. Let's jump inside the database so that I can show you what these improvements are, what these features are, and how they work. So here I am in my database. I will now go into my project application, click on this project, which is our project NovaCure, and activate the Gantt view. And voila, here you immediately see some changes. First of all, I have this horizontal scroll bar that helps me navigate throughout the Gantt view. But most importantly, I see a series of smart buttons in the top bar here. Let me start with one of my favorite, I would say personal favorite, which is the zoom in, zoom out feature. This feature allows you to adjust the timeline scale inside the Gantt view. For example, you can, if you want to have a narrow timeline range, then you will click on the right and you will zoom in. And what happens, as you can see, is that the view goes from monthly view to a weekly view. And the same logic applies with the zoom out feature, but in this case, I'm going to broaden the range because I'm going to go, for example, from a weekly view to a monthly view. I can do so using the two smart buttons, but also the toggle here that you see in between. Next to the zoom in, zoom out feature, we have this funny icon that does not have a name, unfortunately for us, but it is a tool, a feature that allows you to adjust the density of the data displayed into your Gantt view. You can toggle between, which means that you can toggle between dense and sparse mode. For example, if I now activate the dense mode, I can see that all the tasks that were grouped under each employees or assignees, as you wish to call them, have completely disappeared. So I have less data, less information. If instead I activate the sparse mode, I can see, for example, like all the tasks for which Jessica is responsible. So it is a very, I would say, useful features in order to adjust the density of the data. Next to this feature, we have the Focus Today tool. The Focus Today tool is a very useful tool when users want to navigate back to today's time. So what does it mean in practice? Because here we like to be practical. So right now, I am in between the October and the November month. Let's assume that I'm the project manager here and I want to check the tasks that will be performed in November 2024. Okay, there is the data cleaning, the statistical analysis, so we are a little bit, you can see that we are a little bit busy here. But at the same time, I now want to have the option of going back immediately to today's time. And that's what the Focus Today icon is for. I can just click here and I quickly navigate back to today's day. This is very cool. Don't you agree? Okay, so in this journey of new features, I'm going to talk about now the date range field. The date range field actually displays the selected date range for the current view. As you can see here, you have some predefined option that from which you can choose, but you also have the possibility of personalize your date range using the date picker. So here, for example, you can choose, I have chosen the 1st of October because it's the start of the project, and the 31st because it's the end of the project. But of course, you can personalize it as you wish. For now, what I will do, I will, for example, change the selection and click on this month view. As you can see, the horizontal scrolling has disappeared, obviously, and here I have only the information displayed concerning the month of October 2024. Okay, so far so good. But now the question is, if I want to navigate inside the Gantt view, backwards or forwards in time, how do I do that? Well, the answer lies in these two arrows here, the left arrow and the right arrow. With this arrow, you can move forward in the case of the right arrow and backward in the case of the left arrow by the length of time of the date range selected. What does that mean? It means that if I have selected a monthly range and I click on this arrow, I will move forward monthly. The same thing will happen backwards. I will move forward monthly. If I have different date range, for example, I could choose weekly or today, I would move forward daily or weekly. So this is the logic of the navigation. And the last two icons that I'm going to show you today are these two arrows, okay? This is called like the expand collapse rows functions. It is a function that's used to hide or display or hide information under a certain grouped category. In this case, my grouped category is the employees and the information are the tasks. So for example, if I want to collapse the rows, everything, I just have to click here and I have a more narrow and compact view. If I want to do the opposite, I just need to click on this button and I have all the information displayed here. This is particularly useful when you have large data sets, for example, or large projects, and you want to adjust the information that's being displayed. Okay, I hope you're still with me because the next topic on the agenda touches upon some exciting new features related to better, related to how to better streamline your project management processes. And you see these features here. There are timeline overview, allocated hours, and autoplan. But since I don't like to talk too much and I like to be very practical, let's explore these features directly inside our database. So let's jump right back into our project and let's see what timeline overview stands for. Well, in this case, with the timeline overview, we have now the possibility inside the gun view to visualize the start and end date of a project. For example, I don't know, I hope you have noticed that here there is this green line and the pop-up window says project start. This identifies the start of your project. And the same things happens when the project ends. I know this project ends in December because I have seen it from my Kanban preview, and you see this red line here. It is the time the project is due. This feature is particularly useful if you want to assess the progress of your project and you want to spot, for example, some potential issues. The next feature is allocated hours, and well, you now have the visibility of the allocated hours for a task inside the Gantt progress bar. So by progress bar, I mean this bar, which is highlighted here in green because our head of department is not overworking. And here you can see that, for example, the hours allocated are 80. Over is normal contractual hours. And last but not least, the most dynamic feature of them all, which is the autoplan feature. Let's imagine that to have some tasks that have not been scheduled yet for some reasons, and I don't want to do it manually. Well, Odoo offers me the possibility of doing it dynamically or automatically. How? All I need to do is to click inside the gun view, realize if I have some unplanned tasks, which is the case for me. I have 2 tasks in regulatory submission phase that are not planned. I can select I can choose to plan one or to plan both. In my case, I will plan both. And then all I need to do is to click on auto plan and Odoo will plan the tasks for me, taking into account, for example, constraints like employees availability and task dependencies. Okay, very well. Let's move on to the next. Topic, which is field service task management. Uh, the Gun View has proven to be a very useful tool for field service operations. So I would like to illustrate for you today some of the new features that have been introduced in order to make field service operators' life much easier. Okay, so the features are the one illustrated here. I will now go inside my database and explain each one of them. So Let's go inside our database and let's come out of the project application. We now go inside our field service app because these are field service operations. I select all tasks and I activate the Gantt view here. It is now easier, thanks to the new improvements, to assign tasks that have to people, okay, that have not been assigned yet. In our case, for example, here, I see that I have this task, which is called Repair Laboratory Instrument, which has not been assigned. And imagine that you are managing a team of maybe 20, 30 people, but you know that you want Lucas to perform this task. Well, all you need to do is to go into the search bar, type the name of your employees, select the tag search assignees for, and then as you can see, the last step would be to drag and drop the unassigned task to Lucas. And your task is perfectly assigned. Another hot topic in field service management is how to plan interventions. And thanks to the planning by location feature, we can now have a very good overview of where the intervention will take place and how to organize them. So in the search bar here, I can now select, for example, this filter. I can group by city, and I can realize that I have interventions in Brussels and Leuven, and I will plan accordingly. However, if I want to go one step further, I can do so. I can, in fact, go again in our search bar and select the zip code. So here I can group by zip code, and I know being Brussels a big city, I need to have an overview of the district where the intervention will take place. And this, in this case, is district 1000. And last, there is the last feature, which is the skill-based filtering. In this case, you can assign a specific task to the most suitable, most competent technicians that you have in your team. So how to do that? Well, it is actually very easy. Let's suppose that I'm looking for a technician with the skills that has software troubleshooting skills. I will go inside the search bar. I will type software here, and then I will select search for skills. And I can see, for example, that Lucas has this ability. I have typed software just for convenience, but of course we would type the skill, would search for the entire skill in this case. And this is so easy and so smooth that you can easily manage your tasks filtering by skills. And finally, we have the last topic, which is task dependencies improvement. Here, all I can say is that there has been a general technical refactoring in how scheduling conflicts gets solved inside the Gantt view. I will provide a couple of examples for you, but there is a specific talk on task dependencies that I encourage you to watch if you are interested in this topic. So let's go back again to the project app. We take our project NovaCure and activate the Gantt view. As you can see here, the literature review task is blocking the compound screening, has to be performed before it, and the compound screening is blocking the laboratory experiment. Let's imagine that the literature review is now going to happen, to be delayed, and it's happening at the same time, okay, as the task that's dependent on it. So, and Odoo is signaling it by using this orange arrow. So I can now decide to solve the conflict with the 3 arrows here. And what I'll do, I'll push with this arrow, and voila, you have like there is only the compound screening task that's been moved without affecting any other tasks that's been dependent on it, in this case, laboratory experiments. Another example could be this one. For example, again, we have dependent tasks, prepare models, conduct in vivo studies, and document preclinical trials. And let's imagine that this task, even though it's dependent from conduct in vivo studies, it's happening right before it. I scheduled it before the in vivo studies, which is wrong, and Odoo is telling me this. So it's telling me, hey, you have a problem here. So I can decide to solve it like I did before, like I can break the dependency, I can decide to move it to the past. In my case, I want to move this forward, so I will click on this dependency, and I can see that the only task that's moving forward is the document preclinical test trials. Well, we have now reached the end of this presentation, and I would like to leave you with an advice. So I believe that whether you're running large-scale projects or handling small-scale operation, the Odoo's Gantt view is your best ally, especially if you want to be productive, improve your project workflows, as well as help your team stay on top of your projects. Well, I thank you everyone for your attention and have a great Odoo experience.
Thank you for a great presentation, Bianca. Will tasks move automatically when working with dependencies? For example, when a task is not completed in the planned week and it has to move to the next week, will the dependent task move too?
Well, this would require actually some testing because, as I said, like there has been a complete refactoring in terms of how dependencies are managed, and we cannot look at case by case today because, of course, we don't have time. So I encourage this person to come to our booth so we can have a look at this use case together.
All right. How can you see all the subtasks of tasks that belong to projects? If subprojects are defined, how can you see them in the Gantt view? How can you join the resources that you have planned to use in the tasks? If there are too many questions at once, just let me know to go one by one.
The question is a little bit confusing because they're talking about sub-projects, and in Odoo we do not handle sub-projects. However, normally there is always the possibility to go, for example, in the all task view inside the project app and see all the tasks related to this project, or from the start button of the subtasks, you can just go there, click on the start button, and then activate the Gantt view to see like the rest of the subtasks which are related to that specific project.
All right. How about weekends? Are they taken into account when solving dependency issues automatically?
Yes, normally, time off, whenever it is defined on the on the time off app, it is taken into account. So normally, yes, that should be the case.
Okay. How to configure rules for auto assignments or planning?
I'm not sure about what rules stand for here. Are we talking about an automation, something like happening in manufacturing? But normally, like at the moment, there is not like a fully automatic way that allows you in one click to plan like all of your tasks. I mean, there is the auto plan feature, of course, that does that for unplanned tasks, but there is no rule that I can activate in order to say, hey, I want this task to be planned this day, and then the other task to be planned 5 days after it. So, but again, for this type of questions which require a much deeper analysis, I would encourage the client, the partner, or the person interested to come by our service booth, and we will be happy to help with the product owner and the rest of the team.
Okay. Can you filter on technician in the Gantt view? Now you also see other users that have access to the field service, like planners. So can you filter on the technicians?
Yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, you can use another filter and maybe create a role, the role of technician, and then you won't see only like the employees as a general category, but then also like technicians in this case. So I guess it is possible, but it is not like I would say a specific feature of the project app. This you could do it in any search bar or any view.
The width of the tasks in the Gantt view depend on the allocated hours of the task, or does it depend on the planned date of the task?
The what?
The width of the tasks.
The
So in the Gantt view, you have the width of the task itself. Does it go with the allocated or the planned date?
okay, the weight of the task.
The width.
The width. Okay. Yeah. No. Before, let's say, before in the older version, it was taking like the length of the two dates without taking into account the allocated hours. But now it's taking into consideration the allocated hours and not the length that is the distance between the start and end date. So it's more coherent and, for example, helps prevent conflicts inside the gun view that are non-existing.
All right, I think we have time for one more.
Yep.
How are tasks connected to the purchase app? Do delays in deliveries automatically reflected in the tasks deadlines?
Are tasks connected to the purchase application?
Yep.
Well, normally we have purchase orders that are connected to the project application just because we have assigned an analytical distribution to it. So we are actually keeping track of the profitability of the project. So in this way, there is a connection like between the purchase and the project app, but I don't know if the client or partner meant maybe something different type of connection. So again, for more clarifications, please come by to our booth.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.